Woven wheel rose. For woven wheel rose, we're going to start with a little star shape made of straight stitches. I'm doing mine a little smaller than the ones I used for the photo, just so the video isn't too long. So make sure they all converge in the center. Next, we are going to start weaving. So when you come up, I just come up near the center. If you come up at the center, you're just going to undo your last stitch. So we don't want to do that. And we're just going to start weaving. So I'm going to go over this first one. It really doesn't matter if you start with the overs or the unders, but just choose and go for it. You can do this clockwise or counterclockwise depending on your handedness and how you feel. Sorry, I'm tangled. Okay. And you just keep going. So tension plays a big part in how your rose looks. So I definitely recommend playing and experimenting with that. I definitely prefer doing this stitch with the hoop in my hand so that instead of having to rotate my wrist, sorry, I keep grabbing that green thread. We're just going to snip it. Oops, and there goes the scissors. Hopefully I don't need those for the rest of the video. So yes, I prefer stitching in my hand when doing this so I can just rotate the hoop. I find it much easier than what I'm doing right now. Plus I keep getting caught on the screw of my hoop. So these are great little roses you can do. Pretty simple once you get the hang of it. You do want to be careful if they get snagged. It is possible to fix them sometimes. But what happens if you just pull one little piece here, it's going to kind of collapse the rest of the rose because it pulls all the way around, right? So just be gentle with them. They might not be the best to put on clothing or a bag or anything like that unless you keep them small and you keep them tight. Then they're less likely to get snagged and messy looking. So as you get towards the ends, you're going to see that your spokes are magically covered. Sometimes mine aren't for whatever reason. Maybe I had one arm longer on my spoke and so it's poking out. So what I do is when I go down, when I'm done here, I can just go down and I kind of use my needle and kind of tuck under there so it looks just like part of the rest of the rose here. Don't pull too hard, or once again you're gonna start sucking in your rose. But what you can do at this point is you can just add some straight stitches around if you like, if you need to kind of cover up any of those spokes that maybe weren't covered when you did your rose. You can see those are just kind of disappearing into the rose. It kind of looks just like more of the same. You can't tell that I'm doing these secret tidying up stitches. So I also feel like that's more secure too, because now if I pull on this tail, I'm pulling these straight stitches instead of the woven wheel rose, which doesn't like being pulled on, right? So just as an example, here is this rose right here was done with 7 spokes. It's much larger. And there's some examples here of, the 5 spoke wheels. Some of the ones in here, I think that, well, those look like French knots. Really small ones you can do with just 3 spokes. So that's one example. And then here's an example of a part of a piece that has lots and lots and lots of roses made with variegated threads, so you can see the kind of effect you can get using these roses. So have fun with those.